Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unconventional GMs, and a very Merry Christmas to you all. We've recorded a special festive episode, like the Royal Varieties or something. We're actually recording this in June in sweltering heat, but we've put on our Christmas jumpers and our Santa hats just to bring some festive cheer to you. And what better way to bring festive cheer to you all than a horrific Wild West adventure? We're going to play through the Brimstone Cradle in Weird Frontiers, which is a horror Weird West, sort of old school Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure. I'm Guy from this and Burn After Running, the blog about one-shot RPGs. And before we start, I should just give a few content warnings. This is a horror game, festive though it may be. So there's some kidnapping. There's a very brief scene of like when a child is born. Obviously, we won't go into any detail at all, as you can imagine with that. And there's some horrifying Christmas-themed monsters. So please, if that worries you, like, don't watch if it'll spoil your Christmas. Turn off now and go to the many other games that we've got recorded. Obviously, like and subscribe first though, because we've got lots of non-horror themed stuff going as well. To introduce the setting, this is the Wild West with a twist. In 1865, as the Civil War ends, a cabal of cultists sought to bring Nyarlathotep and the Elder Gods into the world. For 7 days of night, they carried out strange and terrifying rituals in the Mexican desert and were stopped just in the nick of time. But despite the end of the world being stopped, hordes of lesser horrors now haunt the West, and many of the frontier people find themselves gifted and touched with supernatural powers. So let's meet some of them, starting with Gaz. Who are you, and who are you playing?
Hello, I'm Gaz. I am one half of Unconventional GMs, but this time playing, not GMing, so that's nice. Special Christmas treat to me. I am also one half of the What Would the Smart Party Do podcast, the UK's premier RPG podcast, which you should go and check out. Tonight, I shall be playing Honest Horatio, a former politician who was unfairly maligned and accused of cheating and rigging votes and other nefarious activities of which he is completely innocent. And now he's taken up the career of being a gentleman gambler, taking part in extremely honest and not cheating card games and other such activities to make a living. Although he does think one day he may once again return to politics. He seems to have an aura of luck about him, Lady Luck. Fortune follows him, but only for a time. And as the day wears on, he seems to wear thin and he becomes unlucky. And hence, he's often very eager to get early to bed.
We'll see how your luck holds out during the session. Excellent. Shane, who are you and who are you playing?
Hi, I'm Shane. I'm not a part of any podcast, but I do enjoy playing cool games with cool people, which is why I'm delighted to have been invited here. Tonight, I'll be playing Rattigan Finch, a hellbilly, a veteran of the Civil War with his battle axe, his banjo, and his fairy-touched jug of hooch, which he can use to channel forth all manner of, well, hellish powers and, well, the rest you can see.
Lovely. Sounds great. Alex, who are you and who are you playing?
Hello, I'm Alex, perhaps only notable for having been on this YouTube channel a decent number of times, I assume because of my ability to turn up on time and read about a quarter of the rulebook when necessary. Today I am playing Sister Nancy Lafarge, who may not carry a battle axe, but certainly evokes one with her manner and mannerisms. She's as wizened as she is tough. She's got a kind of a weather-beaten face, an eye patch, and there's a very good reason that she's out adventuring in the frontiers instead of safely locked up away in the convent with the much nicer, kinder and sweeter nuns. She does have the holy powers of God. That means that she can repel the creatures that are nastier and perhaps even a little bit uglier than her fellow adventurers.
Sounds great. I would say, Alex, as well, reading 1/4 of the Weird Frontiers rulebook is no mean feat. It is 900 pages long.
I did not read the rulebook for this one at all.
So well done there. Excellent. And finally, Jag, who are you and who are you playing?
Good evening. My name is Jag, and I mostly play tabletop games and occasionally run the tabletop game conventions and listen to tabletop gaming podcasts. They call me Dead-Eye Dick tonight on account of an accident I had when I was droving me some cattle. I can't drove cattle so good now, so I've had some time to practice slinging my shooters. And I'm a mean hand with my trusty pair, Ghost and Iron. They very rarely leave my side for too long, especially when I give them a haughty whistle to send them back.
Sounds fantastic. And we are playing today a published scenario. We're playing through the Brimstone Cradle by Stefan Surratt, Dragon Peak Publishing. We'll put the link in the notes below so you can read it and see to what extent we diverge or mutilate the published plot that we're meant to do. But let's get to it. It is a snowy night, and the night before Christmas, no less. You might not, our players may not have a warm roof over their heads, but you've all got merriment in your hearts. It was too far to make it to town before the sun fell, so you swiftly made camp and caroled to warm your spirits as the snow fell. But a few hours past midnight into an early Christmas morning, the snow began to fall harder and harder, collapsed the tents, put out your campfire, and forced you to set off in the hope that you might get to Red Clover, the nearby town, at some point during the day. The blizzard comes down hard and fast, though, and soon you're having to really concentrate to make sure you don't get lost among the snowy hills here, when all at once a smell of smoke hits your nostrils, and you see on a hill a small isolated cabin. Right as this hope is found, a shrill primal scream pierces the air, coming from the direction of that lonely little lodge. You can see it seems to be the only shelter for miles around is this isolated cabin. What's your reaction to that? Are you going to go and try and seek some shelter?
Well, someone's clearly in distress, and it behooves us, does it not, gentlemen, to go and find out what is wrong, and perhaps get by the fire, and if we can resolve the problems, maybe have a hand of cards to pass the time.
It's a difficult choice between the scream from hell itself and warmth, but I choose warmth.
Fantastic. And you make your way up the snowy hillside. You can see that there is, in fact, a fire burning in this small cabin. It looks to be well constructed and relatively new. There's a horse and a turnout blanket sat outside it, and a glass window obscured with frost by the front door. As you sort of circle it and try and get the measure of it, there's a wood pile at the back, and next to it another window. There's unlatched shutters that rattle as the wind wails, as the snow seems to have no sign of stopping here. And you can just make out, as you peer through the window, two figures crouching over a screaming woman lying on the bed.
I'm going to give the door a hefty kick.
Indeed, as a hefty kick, it flies open and snow blows into the cabin, and you see the scene within it. The screaming woman, you realize instantly, perhaps like covering your eyes for her modesty, is in the throes of childbirth, and she's being attended to. That would explain the screams. And she's being attended to by another woman, another red-headed woman who looks very similar to the woman who's giving birth, and an old red-faced man who has a sort of tray of surgical tools near him, and a bottle of what you at first think is disinfectant, but he swiftly reaches over and takes a swig from it himself. He does it, and he as he looks around, panicked, and is what's the meaning of this? What's the meaning of this? Intruders!
I do apologize, sir, ma'am. We heard a scream and believed that woman was being set upon.
So it's merely a difficult childbirth. Haven't you ever seen it before? Just shut the door anyway. Make yourselves useful.
Close. But we have a woman of God with us who I believe will be able to aid you.
I'm already rolling up my sleeves, and I say, I've been involved in plenty, and much worse looking than this. Yeah, much triplets I've seen all clawing to get out at the same time. This is nothing, and I'm going to get involved.
And I think just as you say, much worse looking than this, there's a little squeal of a baby boy, and the doctor picks it up and says, "Oh yes, a healthy baby boy. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at it." And then there's a sort of ominous yawn from the ground. And just as he cuts the cord and makes to hand the boy over to its mother, the ground beneath the bed opens up and you get a sulphurous stench as if it is the pits of hell itself. Grey claws grab the mother and drag her within it as she shouts, "Protect my boy! Protect my boy! They only have until dawn!" As she screams, as she's pulled down into hell, a cloud of acrid smoke is belched out from it, and a sinister face with heavy antlers appears and says, "Give me the child. It belongs to me now." The doctor looks to be in two minds about it, but the other woman snatches it and says, "Never, never! You can't have it."
Oh, madam.
Go on.
Get behind us, madam. And I'll try and pull them out of the way and interject ourselves.
You don't need to tell her twice. As her and indeed the doctor make their way behind you. He says, "Very well. If you will not surrender it to me, I shall take you all." And the visage fades. There's a moment of pause before 6 red-faced demonic imps crawl out of the hellmouth and leap to you. At this sight, which is relatively horrifying, I'm going to ask you to all make a grit check to see if you can react without fear to this. So how you do this is you're going to roll a d20 and add your willpower save. Your target number to beat here is just 9. So if you want to roll that and let me know if you make it or fail.
I get a bonus here because I fear no evil. So I double my will save.
This is evil, you noticed from not being afraid of it. Yeah.
And we must smite it and not shrink away from it.
I think just Deadeye to go. Everyone else seems to be not too bothered by it.
Deadeye is going to be fine.
Well, if you turn your blind eye to it, then yeah, that's...
Doesn't see anything. Doesn't see anything.
A bit of trouble there rolling, Jane.
There is, yeah.
The antlered figure has made its way into the Roll20 die roller.
Yeah. There's a pregnant pause as these creatures are about to leap upon you.
Pregnant.
But they just wait to see if I see what I did there. Yeah. Wait to see if Deadeye is frightened or not. Well, you've rolled a D5, Jag, so you might want to roll a D20 plus. And that is not enough. Indeed, as we might have thought, Deadeye is concerned by it. So you what happens is you lose 1 grit. And we also have to look on the fear chart to see how you're affected. Luckily, it's just the amount you failed by on the fear chart. So
is that
just
losing 1 will?
No, 1 grit. You should have a grit stat below your hit points, which
Nice.
is sort of your spiritual sanity type thing. Yeah, luckily 1 on the fear chart just means your hairs stand on end as prickly bumps rise on your skin as you believe this could be the end. So you're going to suffer -2 to all your rolls for 1 round before you get it together.
Yeah, he's feeling a little bit itchy fingers, very triggery at the minute as he kind of reaches down for Ghost and I and he starts pulling them out as fast as he can, getting ready to aim at this fiendish creature.
Excellent. Well, there are 6 of them. There's only you, Deadeye, that are slightly shocked by it. The rest of you seem to be going for it. If you want to roll me some initiative, that'd be great. That'll be a D20, normally plus your agility bonus. But Deadeye, you get to add your reflex bonus, but you've got that -2 still on it. Just to remind you. And the Soul Snatchers are on 1, so they're going after you, basically. Oh no, sorry, they're not. They're on 19. Soz, guys.
We have to take your first answer. It's the rules.
Is that how it works?
You touched it.
Okay, so we are looking at they go first. Then it's Deadeye, Nancy, Horatio, and then Rats. So the 6 of them pile across. I'm going to suggest the 2 people nearest to the woman are likely to be the people that sort of spoke last. So I'm going to say it's probably Nancy and Rat. So they're going to try and get you with their claws. Let me just get their stats up so I can see.
I'm going to shout, "What the devil!"
Yes, indeed, that's us, they say. So 2 of them are going to hit, try and hit Nancy, and probably miss unless 11 hits your armor class.
Apologies. Armor class is 12, so just about.
Yeah, you avoid as their claws scratch across your skin. Rats, the 2 on you, 21 will probably hit, and 8, I imagine, won't. So, Shane, you're going to take 3 damage as you are clawed by these demonic creatures. The other 2 of you are just going to face 1 each. Honest to ratio, they get an 8, which probably misses you.
Correct.
And Deadeye, a 6, which I'm sure misses you. As these, they're sort of 4.5 feet tall, quite small, little impy devils, red-faced, looking like a caricature of a devil, but they are all too real as they crawl out of the hellmouth. You can already see the hellmouth is like sealing up as they seem to be trying to stop you from interfering. Deadeye, you're up next.
6 of them, 1 bullet each. Found the hammer.
Excellent.
So this is
This way we all start diving for cover.
Yeah. In this tiny cabin.
Yeah, it's crockery is flying off shelves and that.
So I'll tell you all now. These are armor class 11, so that helps with your narration to see if you can describe if you fit them or not. And also remember, every bullet you fire, you need to flip a card from your gun deck, and it doesn't matter unless you get aces or 8s. Jack, Queen, or King will give you a bonus. Red Joker will give you a bonus as well. Give you a crit.
okay. So I am. So the first one is an 8. So Queen of Clubs.
So the Queen gives you +2 to that. You've also got +2 because of your agility. So that actually is a hit, that first one.
And I get a -2 to all rolls in a minute, right?
Yeah, no, that'll be fine, I think. So that'll be +2 gives you 10, +2 gives you 12, -2. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, just misses. Just a little bit shaky still from the fear. Otherwise, you would have hit.
Yeah. So the next one is an 11, and it's 4 diamonds. But 11.
Okay, 11 hits. 11 is just a normal hit. Yeah. So do you want to roll your damage? Which one were you targeting? The one that's attacking you, presumably, or?
No, I'm targeting the one that's attacking the nurse. On that one. The nurse, the sister.
The sister. Excellent. Right. Roll your damage for that one.
2 damage.
Okay. It still appears to be moving around and cackling.
Oh, well, that one is +1 with the jack. 14.
Oh, yeah, that hits.
And that is 4 damage, and that was attacking honest ratio.
Honest to ratio. So yeah, honest to ratio. Yours is still just about standing as it's clawing at you, but it's taken a gunshot wound from that. You can keep fanning the hammer if you want until you use up however many bullets you've got in the gun. Which
so that's 19.
That'll hit too, won't it? That's yeah.
8 points of damage.
And whose is that on?
That is against Rats.
Okay, one of Rats's ones actually goes down in a hail of bullets.
Followed shortly thereafter by it's 2. Black 2. That's not going to do anything.
That's all right.
And then the final one is attacking me. Let's see if that gets any success. That's a +1, so it's a 13.
That hits, yeah.
And just as I'm fanning the hammer just around, it kind of comes back to me, and just right in front of it, managed to get a shot straight through its shoulder.
Fantastic, and that one drops. So I think we have this is very much a hail of bullets in this tiny cabin. So certainly the the two NPCs that are with you are absolutely terrified now if they weren't before, as stuff like ricochets, the ones that miss, like ricochet off crockery and all the various like tins and accoutrements. One of them bounces off the surgical tray from there and bounces around from that. But as it clears, two of them are down and two of them are injured. And
I'm shouting as if I'm driving cattle here. I'm going get, yeah, and rounding them up as a couple of them fall to the wayside.
Fantastic. Next up is Nancy.
Yes, perhaps not the first time I've seen devils crawl up through the floor after a childbirth. I'm ready to go and ready to react. I'm going to attempt to use my turn back the night cleric ability because it seems relevant against demons.
Excellent.
This is one of those abilities that comes with its own chart, so I may well need a little help reading the chart for the first time, but I'm sure it'll be good. In fact, I might not for a 10 because a 1 to 10 is a failure no matter where you look on the chart.
Yeah, they are one hit dice monsters, so any is no effect, I'm afraid. Yeah. So I think, I'm trying to think why it would not work. It's potentially to do with there being an actual portal to hell currently still open there. I think we see a couple of them like look gingerly at each other as if they should flee. But there's like a little ghost of that horned, antlered visage appears as they glance back and they realize they're more scared of that than they are of you.
My chanting perhaps is drowned out by whatever infernal chanting comes from the portal.
Yeah. And so, but you didn't really want, so you've not risked falling out of favor with the good Lord. So you find that. Okay, Horatio.
I fling my cane in the direction of one, which he ducks under, but that's merely releasing the scabbard from my sword cane. And I give a devilish grin of my own as I swing backwards and try and cut it down with the heavy blade within. For a 20, which I think will be sufficient.
That will be sufficient. Yeah, it's not a natural 20. I've just checked, but yeah, that will certainly be sufficient.
So it's D6 plus 1. Look at the damage. 2 damage.
Well, that is enough to take down the one that's fighting you because he was already got a gunshot wound in it. So during the rate,
looks at me as surprised, and at first you think nothing's happened, and then you realise that I've cut it across the neck to the quick. As it tries to step forward, its head just lolls backwards and drags it over.
And in fact, I think maybe the head rolls off into the hellmouth as well.
Why not?
With a splosh into the sulphurous depths. And finally, Rattigan.
So Rattigan quickly, with the speed that kept him alive on Civil War battlefields, runs through all of his options and decides subtlety should be gone and swings his battle axe in a massive arc towards the closest one. Is critical miss a thing in this?
It is, yes.
Well,
it's not just a critical miss; it's a fumble.
Shall we explore that?
It's great to use the rules, isn't it? First round of combat. So yeah, what happens is first of all you get a hex token.
Great, thank you.
Because you've rolled a 1, and yeah, you roll whatever your fumble dice is. Now,
so for me, it's a 1d10.
Okay, so you want this to be. That's good for you. I think you want it to be low, but to not be too bad. Fumble chart melee. The attack goes horribly wrong as you slip or trip on something overlooked on the ground. I don't know what that is. A chamber pot, maybe.
Fluids, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fluids.
Yeah.
In undescribed fluids.
Non-specific fluids.
Yeah. You must pass a DC 12 reflex save to avoid landing prone, in addition to giving all enemies a +1 dice attack bonus until your next action. So make me a reflex save to see if you lose your footing on the.
I fall over and plop down on my backside in the non-specific fluids.
And yeah, they cackle. The one that's on you is looming over you with his claws. He might even try and bite you this round as he gets a bonus to attack you there. Cool. That's the end of the round. We've currently, as we survey the scene, there's quite a few devil bodies. The ones that have been defeated, the bodies are sort of fading into smoke and ash almost as soon as they're gone. But there's still 2 facing Sister Nancy, one of which has got a bullet in it, and 1 facing Rattigan as well. Speaking of which, the one facing Rattigan is going to try and attack you, and it gets a bonus because you're currently on the floor. but to no avail. Completely misses you. That was well worth it, wasn't it? Okay, Sister Nancy,
Laugh in its face.
they're going to concentrate on you because you tried to call down the Lord on them, and I think that's both hits, isn't it?
Yeah, she's got AC 12.
Yeah. So right, that's going to be 1 lot of 3 damage and 1 lot of 3 damage as they feast upon you. Alex, on the flesh of a woman of God is what they want to eat now. But never fear, because Deadeye's up next.
Deadeye is next, and he pulls out his spare pistol and sees them tucking into this holy feast, and unleashes a two-fisted charade on them.
Cool, go for it. So if you're just using one pistol, yeah, it'll be a D20. Oh, you're not on -2. It was just 1 round, wasn't it? So
in that case, that is 16 with no additional bonus. And
that'll hit.
And that is 9 points of damage.
That takes one of them out. The one of them that's feasting on her out. So there's just 1 left on Nancy and 1 left on Rats, as it stands.
That's 21. That's a significant hit. So does it have to be a natural 19 or 20 to be able to do lead poisoning crit?
Yeah, it has to be 19 or 20. You don't. Well, you D16, you don't get the crit from it. Do you want to flip a card as well for both of those, just to check we don't?
It's a 2. So no additional damage to that, and that is a slightly smaller. 8 points of damage, just a 1.
Okay, again injured but still going from that one. Cool. So there's just 1 on Rats, 1 on Nancy. Nancy, you're up next.
Perhaps losing a little faith in my abilities with that portal still open, I may just turn to cruder methods. Can I fire a gun at this thing that's in front of me? Is that
yeah, I believe you've got a
no
shotgun.
Weird penalty in the rules. Yep, I've got a shotgun. I'm just going to open fire, I think. So that's just D20 plus 1 attack roll.
Yeah, you're willing to flip a card as well. It applies to all guns.
Yeah, I got a king, but that might be a miss, right? A 7.
So the king gives you +3.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah,
it's
to the hit.
Armor class 11, though, I'm afraid.
Ah, okay, never mind.
So yeah, just and then, there's another sort of boom as the shotgun blast goes off,
goes into the roof. I think. Yeah,
yeah. You see, stuff falls down from where they've stored it up there. Fantastic. Horatio.
What, hitting a man when he's down is inconceivable and extremely rude. I'll say stabbing the demon in the back, or attempting to do so anyway.
Excellent. Oh yeah, you've got a thing, haven't you, for that? You get an extra D4, I think.
Yeah, I get an extra D4, and it inflicts a critical hit.
Go for it.
Apparently, might have to. Well, not without the D4, but I'm going to assume that's enough to hit it.
That's cool. Right, do your damage, and you can roll your crit dice as well, and see if the damage. I mean, the damage might be enough to kill it. We don't need to.
The dice is D8, doesn't what? So yeah, it's just 2 on the damage and then 5 on the crit die. If that's
okay. So the 2 on the damage means it's still up there. The 5 on the crit die. It's slashing weapon, I believe. A shallow but vicious slash momentarily takes the target to 1 knee. They suffer +1d8 damage and must use their next full action to rise. You want to roll me a d8? Yes.
I'd love to roll you a d8. There's nothing more in this world. 8.
Yeah, that thing about having a next action to rise isn't going to happen for it. It's going to take its next action to die instead.
I'll just take his leg off at the knee.
Yeah. Again, rolls down into the hellmouth after the head. Excellent. And finally, a Rattigan. There's just 1 left now, who's facing Nancy.
Well, I'm going to react in exactly the way you should when faced with demons, and I'm going to grab out my banjo, strum across it, and as a soulful balladeer, I am going to spend the full round singing and playing my banjo for a soul soother that will allow allies to recover 1d4 hit points each. In this case, what could soothe the soul better at Christmas than a Christmas carol, Deck the Hells?
Lovely. Do you want to roll the d4, Shane, rather than everyone do it? So you can have the pressure of...
So that's 2 for me and for Nancy 4. I believe nobody else is injured.
I'm good, thank you.
I think so. Right, back to the top of the round.
Nice
This
one.
one solitary demon, who must be the leader. I think you've made him irate with your singing, Rattigan. So he wanders over to you to try and take you down. Let's see how he does. I believe
he's proper angry.
that's a crit. Yeah.
God.
So
This one goes by the name of Scrooge, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So can you take 3 damage? And okay, his crit dice is 3. So the target blocks blow awkwardly, leave themselves off balance and open for an additional attack. So yeah, he swings at you again, basically, as a result of that, but misses wildly. Okay, Deadeye, you're up next. There's just this one super powerful one that keeps attacking.
As he launches into Rattigan, I see him almost physically take on a bigger form. At least it feels like it. So I just charge towards him with both barrels blazing and unleash. First, the 14 plus an ace of diamonds. So that's a.
It's an ace. It's a misfire. So it's
Ace
not a
is a
14.
misfire.
Yeah, ace is an 8. You're a misfire. So with a sort of thud and a click, you realise your gun has jammed.
Oh, ghost! Don't ghost me now.
Just at the worst point.
I need some iron, and this iron is just not good enough. It's a no bonus good enough for that.
No, yeah, you do that.
I curse as I almost throw the pair of pistols in my hand into the pulpit, and then realise I don't want to do that, and I look forlornly at Rattus.
Yeah, they can all go to hell, literally, if you throw them in there. Sister Nancy.
Losing faith in my own abilities a little. I think I'm just going to open fire with that gun again, though, and hope that this time I can put it out of action for good.
Go for it.
Nope.
No. God has forsaken you this Christmas night.
Indeed
It
he
seems
has.
there's another bang as the rafters rattle and dust comes down again from there, but to no effect. Horatio, can you say the day? This one that's left is really hard, isn't it?
It's turning out to me as he's scything with his claws at rats. I'm going to say point beats edge every time and do a fencing lunge and see if that works. 11.
That hits, yeah.
4. 2 damage.
He's still going because he's pierced right. I think you go right through his rib cage. He looks down momentarily. Shot. When you pull it out, he's still moving and dancing around. Cackles. Seems only to be enraged by this. Rattigan, can you finally dispatch the heroic devil?
So I will wrench my pistol from its holster and fire up at it from the floor.
Lovely.
Do I have a penalty for being on the floor?
I don't think so, because it said just for 1 round, so I think you can just roll up and do that.
So that is a 12. So
That will hit.
Nice. And
Roll your damage.
Yep. 1.
Yeah. You need a 2 or more to defeat it. Hackles as this bullet goes again through him. You can see right again in front of him. There's like all these holes through him that you can see clear daylight from.
Will you just return to the hell you came from?
I will defeat you. As he's going to fall about you again at the start of the round. It's his go.
I'm going to start remonstrating with the doctor, going, "Anytime, doctor, a bit of help wouldn't go amiss."
He's just drinking his disinfectant. He hits you for 4 damage. Shane. Deadeye, you're up next. Have you got enough bullets still?
I do have enough bullets. The one that misfired before, I can use it again?
Yeah, you can use it around this round, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm conscious that this thing is probably sort of lying on top of rats at the moment. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. In that case, what I'm going to do is just like we used to do back on the farm by the prairie, we used to heave the small and large cattle, just pick them up from their shoulders and throw them over to the other side of the pen that we needed to. So I'm going to pick this thing up from its back and just throw it into the hell pit. So I'm abandoning my pistols. What do I need to roll for this? Is it a strength?
Probably a melee attack. So yeah, probably a D20 and add your strength bonus.
Oh, there is no modifier on that, so that's nothing. Oh well, it looks like he's locked in. Jaws clamped around.
Yeah. The cattle were easier to lift than these demons, or this one certainly, as he's lodged in to Rattigan. Sister Nancy, you're up now. A chance at redemption.
Well, perhaps. I think it's time to try and turn back the night one more time to see if God still smiles on me. This is more like it.
That's more likely. So 17 on the table for these are 1 hit dice. Is oh yeah, you turn a D3 plus 2 of them. As there's only one of them at the moment, I don't think you need to roll. But yeah, how does this? You're going to banish this demon back into the pits of hell. Do you want to just put a bit of narration onto what that looks like from everyone else's?
Yeah, finally, with it kind of, I don't know, avoiding blows, throwing us all off balance, and generally creating as much mischief as one could want on Christmas night. Sister Nancy, her gun now empty, she throws it to one side to the ground. She kind of picks herself up bodily. This demon has grabbed onto Deadeye's arm, but she's able to sort of haul it and just snatch it off, and she's chanting and calling out the entire time. And then she looks at it, and it's quite close to her face, so the two of them are facing each other. It's horrible, gnashing jaws, kind of flicking horrid spittle into her face. And she says, and go back to the hell you came from. And she just lets it go, and it's pulled into the pit by an infernal force, as if being forced to return to its master.
And in fact, as it's pulled into the pit, the hellmouth closes up, and a voice echoes around the cabin. She gave all that she was for the gift of a child. The babe is the last of her that remains on this earth. You must surrender the infant tonight, or your souls will garnish my feast of sinners. Sort of echoes in the cabin. And then all is quiet. And you can see that the woman is still cradling the baby, who seems like quite peaceful now. Has been calmed now that you've defeated the babies, and the doctor sort of gets up and goes over to his surgical instruments and opens his doctor's bag and says, "Well, it seems you came in the nick of time. I don't know what all that was about, but anyway, it's high time I should be going. Better get back to town quickly before I get any chance. I don't think there's any need for me to stick around. I'm just a doctor." And he
I think there is a need, and I'll look to my friend Rats, who's got gashes all over him. So perhaps you could try stitching up with some people who've saved your life and perhaps your very soul, you ingrate.
And tend to this woman at least, please.
And I would be eager to know who that woman was, that she would make a deal with the devil for a son.
The doctor looks a little sheepish, and the red-headed woman who has like tears down her face says, that would be my sister, Charity. She'd be so happy now to have this beautiful baby boy, all that's left of her, but all that's left of her husband John as well in this world. He died, you see, in the summer. And she says,
"You still haven't answered my question as to why she would deal with Satan below."
I can't. That's just. I can't believe she'd ever do anything like that. Why, she had a tough time with John, and she's always struggled to carry a child to term. But this is no satanic deal. This is a Christmas miracle.
Madam,
says, and like, lifts up the baby, and it does a little really cute little.
Madam, did you not see what we saw?
So, I did indeed, and for that sake, I hope you will stay and help us, for I don't want any more things to befall us tonight.
I can at least. There's perhaps something I can do to make sure that everyone is being truthful here with us, to know what it is that we're dealing with. I have access to a miracle called Flames of Truth, where I can channel divine fires of creation, use them to discern truth from lies with any we encounter. Maybe worth doing this just to see if anybody knows more than they're telling.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly do that. You roll with your, I think you've got the bonus in your character sheet to roll against that.
Yeah.
Let's see if you
Still
can do that.
D20 plus 3. 10. My fall from grace threshold rises. It seems that God wants us to figure out the truth for ourselves.
Yeah. You see, it's difficult to tell. You can find your own truth from it, but she tells you again that she starts talking, telling them all she knows. Says that John and Charity built the cabin together. He died in the summer. His grave is just about 100 feet at the back of the cabin. And she did used to say that this was the only thing left that she had of him was the child. From that. And as you say that, the doctor is sheepishly going to try and patch up some wounds. He agrees to do this before he goes. He does introduce himself as well. He's Dr. Bennett Bass. He's from the town nearby at Red Clover that's been called on to attend on Charity. So anyone that's injured can get 2 hit points back from his ministrations. You do get a sort of ominous feeling as well, particularly Sister Nancy, that maybe these aren't the last visitors that you'll have tonight to try and take the child.
Can we discern if staying here is the safest thing to do, given that the floor is open to prone to opening up to hell? Or perhaps we should head back to town with the doctor? Is that?
Well, as the doctor glances out of the window and the shutters rattle, you open the door and it's almost like horizontal snow out there. And so he maybe even gets past the threshold with his doctor's bag and then sort of turns back and says, I might just stay here till it passes.
Snow on the side of his face.
But all one side. Yeah. His nose is even redder than it was before as he starts to, and then he starts looking around and finds the drinks cabinet of the cabin and begins to replenish himself.
Dr. Rudolph Bass, if you ask me.
Yeah.
See the bright side here, Doctor, that at least hell is warm.
Says indeed. At least the fire has kept burning. If we're sitting ducks here, though, aren't we? Aren't you going to try and secure the cabin or something?
Well, maybe there's something that Sister Nancy might have some insight into. If Charity's husband John is just buried 100 feet away, that's not too far. I don't know what the taint of a hellmouth like this might be. It may not reach as far as Red Clover, but I'm not so sure that 100 feet is quite such a dangerous thing for them to, these spirits to lurk.
Yes, I'm inclined to agree. We should at least investigate. I fear, gentlemen, that we must be vigilant. My experiences so far suggest that God's influence is ill felt here, and I worry that calling on his aid will have spotty results. So please keep your wits about you. Steel and perseverance will always see us through, even when God has his attention on other matters. But indeed, yes, I believe I should lead us all outside to inspect this grave. Perhaps there's something to be gleaned.
When I don't have steel, I have iron, and I hold up my fully reloaded pistol and ghost when God doesn't answer our call.
I shall put my faith in Samuel Colt.
Cool. But indeed, as you open the door to venture outside and try and make your way across to that, you hear a song rising up from the floorboards of the cabin. It's hard to discern what the words are, but it's some dreadful holiday dirge, like some twisted carol that's been made into some awful song. And as you hear it and you feel it go into your brains, into your heads, the baby starts to scream first and wail, and soon Philomena joins and is just inconsolable, like putting her hands to her ears as she tries to weep. The doctor collapses to the floor, just in floods of tears at this terrible dirge-like music that rises up. And indeed, it may affect you guys. Can you all make me a DC 12 willpower save as you listen to this horrible Christmas #1?
My first instinct is to cast a stern glare at Rats, and I realise it's not him with one of his songs.
Does Fear No Evil help me out here, guys?
It does, yeah, it does. It's an
Thank
evil
you.
creature, so yeah. You get that.
I'm unaffected and indeed would like to oppose it by taking out my banjo and performing a hoedown to grant others a bonus. If
When in
the
doubt,
thing is-
hoedown.
Yeah, I'm going to try and drown out this terrible dirge with my louder voice and banjo.
Excellent, excellent. I think you just do that, don't you? You just
Indeed, I do.
yeah, you do. So a jaunty hoedown starts. I think everyone gets a D4 to any action dice while Rats is playing it. But you can still hear in the background. It's not affecting you because of the happy banjo plucking that Rats is doing. But the song is still coming from beneath the floorboards, as if maybe there's something in the cellar beneath you that is haunting.
Just to ask if there's a brute cellar.
Well,
Cabinets,
good news. We may not need to journey outside, gentlemen. Or maybe we must descend down into the pit.
Okay,
and
so
maybe we through.
there's a trapdoor to the cellar. Just let's be clear who's going down and who's staying up in the cabin.
I'm definitely going.
I will stay up and continue to play.
Okay, yeah, your effects will go in both places, if you see what I mean.
Deadeye's heading down.
And I'll stay with Rats to make sure nobody interferes with his plucking.
Okay, brilliant. So as you step down into the dark cellar, maybe bringing a candle with you, you see the source of the mournful dirge. A deer's skull sits atop a ghostly, floating infant body wrapped in swaddling clothes. This, Nancy, you might even recognize. This is a strange spirit called an equiputo. And as you notice this and about to do it, the cellar trapdoor slams shut behind you, and the equiputo floats towards you, trying to touch you with its ghostly visage. You will both need to make grit checks, Nancy and Deadeye. So again, that's a willpower check. This is against difficulty 12. This is. So it's a slightly more of the thing. Once again, Deadeye is spooked. Nancy, you get a boon for that because you're on natural 20. Yeah. Oh, you get an extra D4 as well because of the hoedown. The stomping on the floorboards above you gives you an extra D4. So it might be worth you rolling that, Jag, to see if you get 3 or 4.
No, it's just too little, too late.
It's strange. Well, that does at least reduce the effect of fear. So you're going to lose a grit point, and your hair stand on end again, and you suffer a -2 penalty to all action for 3 rounds. It's the same thing happens, the same fear that you had before.
It is. There's something GP about this place. I don't like it, sister. I don't like it. And what is that unholy sight?
Post-traumatic reference to your droving accident that you had that left you unable to shoot straight. Cool. Do you guys want to roll initiative? And I will do for this thing as well. Up top in the cellar, in the main part of the cabin, you've noticed the cellar door is slammed shut, but no more for this first round, if you see what I mean. It maybe you'll have something else to deal with in a bit.
You want us to join in with an initiative anyway, or
yeah? Do you want to roll anyway, and then we're ready to go, aren't we?
Yeah, boy.
So, where are we? Deadeye's on 20. Nancy's on 6.
Oh.
Yeah, Shane, do you want to roll as well, just so you're ready to rock when it. Okay, so Deadeye, although you're frightened, you're the first to react. as this strange spirit floats towards the pair of you.
And it is just the spirit. The antlers, they're not moving or anything like that.
It's not antlers. It's just a deer's skull. It's not. It's like a fawn. There aren't any antlers onto it. So it's floating with. It's attached to this sort of ghostly body.
Instinct kicks in, and there is just something absolutely stupidly crazy about what's going on, and there must be some kind of trickery afoot. So drawing both Ghost and Iron, leading with Ghost. Deadeye attempts to counter this trickery with a trick shot.
Lovely. You still got the D4 because the hoedown's still going on.
Oh, in that case, let me roll that separately. And my bonus is wiped out with the other bit. It's 17 plus.
I mean, it's enough. You're gonna hit.
It's enough. Okay, yep. Well, it's a 3 on the D4, which
yeah. So what kind of how the trick shots are meant to work? There's a bunch of examples in the book. As you'd expect, it's got 900 pages. It's got room to give some examples. You sort of declare what you're trying to do, and if you get 3 or higher on the trick dice, you can basically do it. So what kind of thing were you looking for?
Yeah, so I was looking for something that was going to maybe there's some kind of curtain or something like that in the cellar, and the trick shot shoots the railing of the curtain, and it comes crashing down and smothers this floating creature and sends it to the ground.
Okay, yeah, I'll let it maybe give it a penalty. It's flying, so it'll give it a sort of, let's say, a -1 dice thing, so it'll be around D16s to hit you as well. So roll your damage as well, because this
oh, that is 9 points of damage.
Oh wow, yeah. So yeah, as you hit it right in the skull, not in the ghostly bit, bits of bone like shot off it.
Yeah. And then there's another hit, and that is a the trick shot only works on the 1, so that's good.
Yeah, you can just do it once you can't find the
So
hammer.
that's good. And so boom, that is a 10.
Okay, so the Ekaputo falls to the ground and the strange soulful singing stops. All is quiet and calm in the cellar, and actually the cellar door, Nancy, you can sense as you try it now, will open. Meanwhile, those of you up top in the main part of the cabin feel the window lift up, and crawling in comes a strange insectoid creature, red and white striped, with a strange sort of soft horn atop its head, that's sort of red and furry with a white blob on the end, and 6 legs with fierce claws, crawls in to the cabin and cackles and says, give as the boy, you've been very naughty. And on its action, hawks and spits its peppermint phlegm at one of you.
Oh my god, it's some kind of minstrosity.
I really hope it is you now. One's going to be Horatio. Yes, that's fair enough, isn't it?
Quite right.
So yeah, let's see if this it's no, it doesn't. It splats against the wall instead, and you see it sort of it's minty freshness stings your eyes though, as it does that. And you are facing, you may recognize this creature. This is a Santanoid, this strange insectoid festive beast. Ratigan, you're the next. Better. yeah. I think it is. Rats, you're the first to react to this.
I will momentarily take my hand from strumming the strings of the banjo, snatch out my pistol, and just fire at it without stopping breaking song. I'm sure that was English.
You can, yeah, I'm sure you can do that on the banjo, can't you? You can play with your left hand a little bit. You can pluck with the left hand.
My vocal talents will make up for it.
Yeah.
That is a 14 to hit, sir.
Which is enough to hit. They're on class 13, these Santanoids.
And what does a red joker do?
Oh, I think a red joker means you crit. Let me just check.
Just good
Yeah.
things.
It's a critical hit, and you get 2 boons.
Nice.
So roll your damage, and then roll your crit dice, and we'll see what happens.
So that is
Be
a
another very
total of
short combat.
a total of 10 points and 2 boons. Do they cancel out hexes or?
You can spend with cancel hexes. Yeah, that's one of the things you
Okay,
can
I'll
do.
cancel 1 hex and keep the other boon.
Okay, if you want to roll your crit dice as well, we'll see what they.
I did. It was the second one. Total of 10.
Oh, sorry. So it's 3 damage. Yeah, 3, and then 7 for the crit. Bullet strikes the target's weapon hand for another D8 damage. And forces drop. I think you want to roll me a D8 extra damage. It's also got -1 dice to any actions.
That's 3.
Okay, an extra 3 damage. So it's still moving, but one of its claws is like hanging limply by its side as you manage to target it with that.
Casually holster the pistol and return to playing the banjo.
Return to the break. Excellent. Right, Nancy, you hear commotion from upstairs and gunfire, in fact.
Yes. Can I rush upstairs and do something in time?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Nice one. I think I might try and protect one of my companions. Of these two, which one is kind of more under threat at the moment? Are they both kind of equally? It's quite a small room, right? So they could all equally be attacked if it came to
they
it.
can all be attacked in whatever. There's one Santonite who's
Okay. I'll probably go for Rats then, because I think he's kind of shown the most good spirit so far and the most Christmas cheer on our adventure so far. So I'm going to try and cast Shield of Faith,
Cool.
which will give bonuses to AC for D6 rounds if I am successful. Indeed, that's pretty good.
Did you? What's the effect of that?
Oh, this is pretty nuts. Actually, he's effectively invincible for. Let's find out. 7 rounds, which is I think more than the combat will last. I will read the rules, but effectively it means he's immune to damage. Successful range and melee attacks targeting the target simply bounce off some unseen force, making enemies doubt their chances of winning. The Revelator or their target gains +6 AC, +4 to all saving throws, and successful attacks also have a 50% chance of missing. So a glowing light surrounds Rats, potentially kind of blinding us all, and making him, safe. Yeah,
your prayers appear to have been answered. Meanwhile, in fact, I think the Santonide is like looking at this, distracted, like sees what's happening. Horatio, you're up next.
Does this target then count as off guard?
I've gone then, yes.
Yeah.
Distracted by the.
That's what I like to hear. So I get a 22 even without rolling a d4, so we'll call that a hit, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, you get 2 d4s because you've got a banjo being played as well.
So
that's a hit, yeah.
Definitely super hit.
Yeah.
For 3 damage. As I slash it with my sword cane.
Okay, it's still just about still alive, this thing, but it's looking on its last like 3 or 4 legs. Back to the top of the round, Deadeye. There's lots of sort of, I mean, you're in the cellar, there's lots of sort of stuff around that looks like it could, there's lots of bric-a-brac and sort of shelves and maybe some loose bricks in here. But there is gunfire going on upstairs, and the invoking of God has happened as well.
I think I can feel the searing light from above, and it feels like Sister Nancy has absolutely owned circumstances up there. I'm a little bit nervous about, even though it's dead, this bundle of this vicious looking thing that was taken from a putico. That'll do. I grab that and look around to see whether or not there is any other way out of here or into here that might be a vulnerability for us or an opportunity for us.
Cool. Do you want to make a probably intelligence check? It's just going to be DC 5 for this as you search around.
And so there is a 1d4, right?
There is a 1d4, yeah.
That is enhancing my talents here just a little bit. There is something then in the music that is just a revelatory.
Yeah, you find that there's a way into the cellar from outside as well, from outside the cabin, that you'd missed before. You also find that there's in this loose brickwork, you find a book, and when you look through it, it's like a handwritten diary with Charity's name on it. And as this combat rages above you, we see you sort of open up and begin to read the Dear Diary.
I bet there's nothing sinister about this diary whatsoever.
Not at all, not at all. Okay, go on, sorry.
I stash it and realize as soon as I see it's from Charity, I stash it, grab this bundle of corpse and make my way back upstairs.
Okay, the Santanoid is going to try and claw at Rattigan. What's your armor class now, Shane, with your +6?
It is 19.
Okay, a D16 +4 doesn't sound like good odds, but it's going to have a go. Oh, nearly.
Oh, close.
Just scratches at you. You've got a feeling you would have been a goner were it not for the protective magics that were on you. Is it?
Protective magics and the little hip shuffle as I am playing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is a hoedown, isn't it? So, yeah, definitely. Rattigan, you're up next.
So I am going to keep playing to sustain the bonus for my companions.
Excellent, excellent. As you are the blinding light of being blessed while you pluck the banjo in a festive hoedown. Sister Nancy.
I don't think I'm going to try and slowly shield of faith everyone. I don't think that's quite the order of the day. And I don't think, although this thing is gnarly and kind of horrible, I don't know if it quite counts as the sort of thing I could turn. So I think it's time for the trusty shotgun to ride again.
Yeah, for it.
As I open fire. It's a bit better.
Yeah, flip your card as well.
Oh, yes. Am I supposed to shuffle the card deck in between combats?
No, you're not. You're not meant to shuffle it ever.
Okay.
Unless you spend a boon, basically.
Okay. Ooh, a queen. So that's a
+2,
bonus, right?
Yeah, +2 to attack and damage as well. So and that hits. So yeah, +2 to damage.
And I assume I'm within the sort of 15 feet for the maximum damage on the shotgun.
Yeah.
Where this cabin is quite small, as established. So it's 1d14 +2 damage.
Of course, it's 1d14. Yeah.
Oh, there's my max damage as well.
16 damage. Yeah, you've exceeded the amount of damage needed to defeat it by 15 there. As this is like...
I think I'm emboldened by my successful miracle, so I just put the gun up and under its neck, and we learn too much about its anatomy as I fired directly into its head.
Yeah, there's a sort of this peppermint dust fires everywhere, and everyone's like left eyes watering and choking, but quite refreshed from the peppermint cloud that happens, that then settles, and again all is peaceful as the second and third visitors of the night have happened, and you have a moment's respite to
I'm trudging back up the cellar stairs, and just as everything goes quiet, I'll drop this corpse in this bundle of curtain down and throw this diary on top of it.
I was just in the middle of explaining how this thing was of a pagan tradition anyway, so everybody's probably very glad that you interrupted me.
Pagans, heathens, that's more like it.
And as you do that, you get a moment to maybe get a drink, take 2 minutes to refresh, and that's what we're going to do now. So we'll edit it out, so just be a few seconds for you at home, but we're going to take a quick break now, and we'll see you back in a few minutes. Welcome back. And a Merry Christmas to each and every one. I hope you're having a lovely Christmas morning. Hope you're having a better Christmas morning than our heroes, who have so far faced devils, a ghostly deer-headed ghost, and a minstrosity Santanoid spitting peppermint phlegm at them. But all is not lost, because it's not long until dawn, and maybe if they can keep the baby safe until the morning, that they'll stop being attacked every few hours by horrible beasts. So as you sit in the cabin, we've got this bundle of, it's got now it's just got a normal deer's head in it. There's no sign of the ghost that was beneath it. And the diary lands atop it, and in the sort of peaceful time, the only sound being Dr. Bass refilling a shot glass shakily from behind to steady his nerves. We have a moment of respite for you to decide what your next step is.
What's in the diary?
Well, as you read through it, it tells you a lot of the stuff that you've already found out. Charity was desperate for a child, but just couldn't carry a child with John, and had this is really bothering her. And then there's some notes about having, suddenly she seems very excited about her new pregnancy and convinced that it will go well. But then a sort of darker tone takes on it. And you get the sense that possibly Charity had made some sort of deal to give her the baby. It had asked her, in return for the baby, it asked for her most prized possession. And initially, she assumes it'll be the cabin that her and her husband built, and thinks, well, that's fine, we can find another house, you can always build it. And then in the summer, when John dies, she thinks it's possibly him, and he's already been taken from her. But then there's lots of sort of ruminations without many clues until you find then that the final page, and before this diary has been, and indeed hidden deadeye, it was behind a brick in the cellar, saying, "Forgive me, John, I'm such a fool. I thought I'd lose my ring, maybe my house. It wants my baby. I can only hope to be wrong once again, but it is the faintest of hopes. Damn you, Abizu. Damn your sweet comforting promises. Damn you and stay in your damned hell. If you are reading this journal, then you're a snoop and should not have read it. But I am not crazy. If I am dead when you find my journal, please say a prayer for my soul." Sister Nancy, as you read it, that word in there, Abizu, isn't a recognizable name of a type of demon. You think it's an actual demon's name.
Ah. Well, demons with their own names and identities are of the particularly awful and suspect, abominable kind. It doesn't truly tell us anything we didn't already know. We knew the infernal had its marks here that intends to take this child, but this child didn't make this deal. It isn't right. And besides, we should strike back at the Lord Satan whenever we can.
Yeah. Do you want to make me just an intelligence check as well? DC 10.
Yes.
Yeah, you suspect that not just the demon's name, this might be the demon's true name, which is, as you would imagine, particularly useful for sort of summoning and banishing it. No.
Well, of course, I relay this to my companions, and I say, thankfully, Abizu, one of the more pronounceable of a demon's true names one might come across. And while we must not use it lightly, we must all not forget it, or it may be the key to its undoing, as well as the Lord's light and our iron, of course.
When we're done with this business, I'd be very thankful to forget it. I look across to Doc Bass and Philomena and say, what do you know of this heretical act?
Doc Bass says, I'm a physician, not a priest. Damn it.
I'm
I know nothing of it.
loading my gun. Menacingly loading my gun.
Philomena says, "Oh, she said nothing of it. She just said it was a blessing from the Lord. She was so distracted when John died, but we thought it was just from his early death. Killed by bandits on the road, they said."
I think these two, while I have some doubts as to their piety, I don't doubt that they are telling us what they know. I could be wrong with my faith in people, but I do not believe that they are the minions of the devil, except perhaps through idleness. For now, I'm unsure how fruitful it's likely to be, but we must still inspect this John's grave, for sometimes devils have dealings with the dead.
Pretty,
Perhaps
pretty
while we're
snowy
out, we
out there.
should shore up this building. We don't want any more critters crawling in through the windows.
Hammering doors and windows.
Indeed, perhaps lay some traps if we have them, or can fashion them.
Okay, so who's going to the grave? Who's staying in? Or are you all going to the grave together? Or the doctor
say-
and Philomena seem like less than keen on being left alone. If you're all going to go, to be clear.
I want to shore up the defences of the place and look at setting up some bushwhacking traps or snares or whatever else I can fashion.
Okay, so Horatio is staying at the cabin.
I'm certainly going to the grave.
Yeah.
As am I.
I'll stay in the cabin. It feels like this is where they're expecting. I suppose that the baby is going to be staying here as well. So that's what they're after. Dead eyes.
I'm pleased of this, for although he has many strange ways of expressing it, I believe that deep down Rats is a man of God.
Okay, so two things happening at once. Into the howling blizzard, Sister Nancy and Sergeant Ratkin venture. You sort of shore yourself up as you're almost flattened against the snow and begin to trudge behind the cabin, the 100 feet towards the grave. As you do so, you hear a strange howl on the wind. And I've got to, we'll do this rules as written. Got to call for a luck check from the player character outside with the most Christmas spirit. I think possibly that's Nancy, as you seem to be the most cheerful at the moment. Rattigan seemed a little bit less.
Yes,
That's
Rats did sing a carol earlier, but I think now, as we're outside, I'm bringing the most Christmas spirit out into the cold winter.
Yeah, so a luck check is just a D20 roll equal or under luck.
Where does it say my luck on my character sheet? Apologies.
It's a stat.
Oh, of course it is. Yep. That's a success. My luck is 12.
Okay, yeah, the howls don't grow appreciably closer. They're just circling around the cabin now. They don't seem to have caught your scent as you make your way to a simple snow-covered grave that has John's name on it. John Wood, let's say. Well, I'd look for the surname in the module. So yeah, John Wood from there, and you're able to see the name carved on that and what's happening. Meanwhile, back at the cabin. So just summarize what you're trying to set traps and things to make it more defensible.
Yes, exactly that, and to board up the windows and everything else. But we can go find an old bear trap or something and hang some wires between posts and create some snares and nooses and hammer nails into boards and then cover them in snow and that kind of stuff.
Excellent. So the way we'll do this, for there is going to be another attack in the cabin, which might take place while there's just the two of you in there, is if you want to make me an appropriate sort of stat check, it's possibly intelligence or strength or agility. You can make a case for all of those. We'll say it's DC 10. If you each want to make me one of those, and we'll sort of interpret the results with how many successes we get out of the possible two with crits as well.
So
as we have this little montage of you assembling traps.
Does this count as non-violent criminal pursuits? As I'm trying to...
It's a little bit of a stretch, but yeah, let's go for it. Yeah.
I think you might regret that because he says I get +1 D, but doesn't say what the D is.
So that means you're rolling a D24 instead of a D20. It means your dice get stepped up.
Lovely.
I hope you brought a D24 with you.
Yeah.
I did on my macro bar. I'm happy.
Yeah, if you haven't got a D24, you've got to roll a D100. That's no. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's a fantastic roll, isn't it? You managed to. Sadly, you crit now on a natural 24, not a natural 20. Otherwise, that'd be a crit.
It's a shame, that, isn't it?
Yeah, these traps are. You see some shapes out in the snow, but you're convinced that your traps on your side of the cabin will hold. Rats will go to your plan. Sorry, not Rats. Deadeye will go to your traps in a minute, or your preparations to sort it. But certainly one of those things has happened successfully. You get to the John Rawls, it says his name, as you scrape the snow away.
Oh, yeah, no,
you find his actual surname is Rawls. The gravesite is strangely calm in relation to the rest of the blizzard. As you're sort of in the circle around it, the snow sort of passes, and you get a feeling that this grave is still sort of consecrated, if you see what I mean, and maybe it's protecting against this, and maybe the storm itself is a symptom of the infernal powers that are haunting you.
Interesting.
You don't have a specific way to speak with dead, but I think you can pray and try and get his attention.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. And besides, if this ground is still consecrated, then God is probably still smiling, at least on this patch of ground in an otherwise forsaken landscape. So if I pray, then either John or perhaps even God himself will have some insight as to what's happening here and where we might seek Abizu. Okay,
so we'll roll this as a sort of divine intervention roll, DC 10. So you're going to roll your D20 plus 3 for that. Rats, if you want to, you could help if you can narrate a way to do it, which you do an extra +1. If you want to describe how you're assisting.
Having seen many fathers and mothers weep for their fallen sons after the war, I don't underestimate the attachment of a father to his boy. And I'm going to call on John and tell him, if you have any attention left to this mortal world, John Rawls, your son needs you.
Okay, roll those dice, Alex. You get an extra +1 for Rattigan's assistance.
I've forgotten about my divine intervention abilities, so thank you, Guy, for the reminder.
It's
16. It's a cool ability.
Well, yeah, you might think there's more details of it in the rulebook, but no, it is literally request divine intervention. The judge will decide what happens.
Shrug at the GM. Yeah, great ability. In this case, I'm sure he'll come up with something good.
So yeah, that fits. I think a ghostly form of John Rawls appears with a halo. He clearly was a good man in life, but his face is troubled as he says, I would not normally walk on this earth, but I have seen what has happened, and you may yet be my one hope for the closest thing to a happy ending to this Christmas tale. Tell me, what do you know already?
Well, John, your wife, she may have made some kind of pact she couldn't take back. Sinful it is, but misguided she almost certainly was. And now infernal forces have come for your child and taken it. And if we are not able to show sufficient faith and journey and rescue it, then it may be a minion of Satan or the devil himself forever. Abizu is the demon's name, and it traffics in cruelty.
Says, yes, I've had to watch wasn't easy, having to watch your widow make a deal with the devil, however misguided she may have been. But yes, we can offer some hope, for it's just on this night that the babe can be stolen. Once Christmas Day dawn breaks, it will be safe, and the deal will be undone. Abizu is a powerful demon, though. The one thing you may have is his name. You may be able to banish him. For I'm certain, if his beasts do not take it, then he will come himself. And he is a terrible beast. I've seen him. Had to watch him arrive.
Let him come.
Yes, we will be glad to smite him and erase his existence from all of creation.
I've seen too many sons taken to heaven and to hell in the war. I will not allow that to happen to your boy. You have my oath.
Solomon Jonathan. That was the name we had chosen for him. And you know the demon's name, Abizu.
Solomon Jonathan. Okay.
You may be able to banish it back to hell. For if you don't, and if you let any harm come to my child, I will haunt you until the end of time. Mark my words. And at that, the spirit ends, and there's a whip of snow across as the blizzard sort of reclaims the grave. Back at the cabin.
I'm going to be looking across to Deadeye going, well, I think I'm set on my side as long as, Abizu doesn't turn up in person. I think we're good.
We've got all parts are covered, so there's no chance. What he's done is he's rigged up something that, in case anything creeps out of the cellar, his spare pistol is rigged to automatically fire at it.
Excellent. It's a bit Home Alone, isn't it? Another Christmas reference that we managed to shoehorn in. Go ahead and make your check, Jag, to see if this is successful. Lovely.
Straight.
Lovely. So almost as soon as you do this, and I think as well we'll have Horatio, as you're saying Abizu's name, like you definitely say this, there happens to be a particularly shiny sort of tray propped up next to you that you're speaking it into a mirror. It's not like kind of there's a chill wind blows through as you speak it out loud in front of the mirror. 2 more times and it'll come.
That's I was going, what? I said Abizu.
Is that?
Yeah. So Maz, happy to. What are you saying, man? Speak clearly. Gets an ear horn out. But indeed, as he says that, and you're about to say it the third time, there's a skittering and a scratching on the cabin, and a group of Santanoids. There's the minty scent hits you, and they scamper. There are 4 of them that are getting through. One comes down the chimney, one's coming in through the window, one's coming up from the cellar, one's coming up through the main door. You made both checks though, so I'm going to pass to you, Gaz. Could you describe? So sort of Gaz and Jag alternately. Can you describe how your traps successfully take out a Santanoid each? And we'll go, you'll get to do 2, but just swap between each time. Maybe starting with Gaz, how does the first one expire?
Yeah, it slaps its legs down on a nail board and has to really pull and wrench to pull it out as it staggers through, feeling pleased with itself. But that pulls the wire that's holding the pot of boiling water above the door, and boiling water dissolves it. So there's just this sticky, peppery, minty puddle left in the doorway now, which might be a sticky trap for the next person who comes along. Who knows?
Excellent. Jag, as the next one get destroyed.
Yeah. So there's this Santanoid that is starting to, it's heaving up this heavy cellar door, and as it does, it's just stuck where it can't go any further. And then suddenly there's this kind of pistol that is trained at it. It sees it, its eyes. I can see its eyes, its Santanoid's eyes widen, and then splat. They go everywhere, and the cellar door slams closed, possibly trapping another one's.
Well, we'll see, won't we? Gaz, the third one, how does it expire?
The third one makes a rush for the doctor, who's like accidentally in the way of the child without realizing. Only at the last minute realizes his mistake. He spits out his brandy everywhere, and I managed to like flick up a burning ember from the fire and set the monstrosity on fire. So it starts to slowly melt like that other great Christmas movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, with his face just dripping down in the heat as it runs around.
Yeah, excellent. Jag, the final Santanoid, how does it just get destroyed?
Well, the final Santanoid is actually, it's got past all of our defenses, and it launches itself at the baby, who, as it sees it, projectile vomits at it in a gurglish kind of way, and it drops just as the cellar door is closing, it gets squashed in that.
With a squelch, a minty squelch.
And slightly milky ooze.
Yeah.
Baby.
Excellent. And your visitors to the grave are able to return safely to a peppermint shrouded cabin, as you have defeated the final visitor. As you do, though, it feels like there's a shadow falling over you. You have but a moment to reconvene and share your ideas, but it feels as if Abizu's time is near.
I fear the devil itself. Abizu will join us soon. We must be ready.
We spoke to the child's father outside. He is judging us from beyond the grave, as indeed the Lord himself is, so we must all be on our best.
We must protect Solomon, for that is the name of the boy. And a kingly name it is from the Bible, is it not?
We've defeated a whole horde of monstrosities, or whatever they're called. I don't know. Surely they have some sort of name. But I think all these minions have been defeated, so perhaps you're right. Perhaps it will only be Abizu that comes back at this point.
Yes, well done, gentlemen, for using the grey matter that the Lord gave you, as well as the trigger fingers.
And as the Abizu echoes across the blasted landscape, there's a sort of knock at the door, and then it bursts open. And indeed, the whole front wall of the cabin is blown away, and a 12-foot tall demon stands in front of you. 12 feet tall, 48 pointed antlers, as you quickly count them, like in groups of 4. From each side of these antlers hangs a cage, and in one of them there's a red-skinned demonic infant, laughing and cackling and whispering in Abizu's sort of reindeer ears. The other cage is empty, and the door hangs loose, ready to accept its new occupant. He says, gentlemen, ladies, it's time for us to complete the deal. You have something, I believe, which is mine by the laws of earth and hell. So the right thing to do now is to hand it over. It can be mine for eternity.
No deal, I'll say, producing my magical cards, getting ready to protect myself.
No gifts for you this year, Abizu.
It's mine by right. A deal's a deal, and I am a demon of my word. Who are you to deny me my rights?
As he monologues this 12-foot demon thing that is clearly too big to fit through a 4-foot cellar hatch, I usher Philomena and the doctor down to the cellar to safety, with the baby, of course.
Yeah.
Be safe with...
Sorry, go on, Jack. I thought you'd finished.
That's it.
I'll raise my Fey-touched jug and say, on this festive occasion, I offer you a drink to your ill health. And I'm going to take a swig from it and unleash one of my hellbilly effects when you deem it appropriate.
And as he does, he says, very well then. I'd hoped it would not come to this, but it seems there must be more blood spilled tonight. More souls for the harvest. Very well. I'd like you to roll initiative, please, because you're all going to... Well, he's going to attack, certainly. Oh. Yeah. Oh, no, Rats has beaten me, actually.
Oh, good. Thanks, Sister Nancy. I was feeling lonely in last place there for a minute.
Yeah, well,
Hey.
merely gathering my thoughts.
So the massively powerful demon is going for... Right, the good news is, because he started with a conversational tone, you don't have to make grit checks. Apparently, that works. If you get him to talk...
They call him Chatty Abizu.
Yeah.
He's a man of his word.
He's going to just... he's not going to use his magic, first of all. He's just going to attack 2 of you. So I'll just roll a couple of d4s to work out who those people are. Going round, we'll do sort of Rats, Deadeye, Sister, and Horatio. Sister Nancy, I mean, you are a woman of God, aren't you? Deadeye and Nancy are going to be the targets of this. Let's see, as he swings his massive fists at Sister Nancy. 13, does that hit you?
Yeah, that's a hit.
You're just taking 5 damage.
Oof.
And at his second action dice, which is a little bit lower than the first, this is at Deadeye. 6, I assume, doesn't hit you.
Nowhere near.
Okay, so he howls, and the other baby cackles and laughs and says, "Yes, kill them all." Sorry, Rats, you should have gone first, shouldn't you? Never mind. Do you want to? We'll retrospectively let you go first. Sorry, I got that wrong.
Yeah. So as I've just toasted him to his ill health, I am going to swig from my Fey-touched jug and burn 2 personality. And I'm going to let forth a hellfire hiccup. Burning with an eternal flame itching to escape, the large swill immediately finds its way back up and out into a fiery spray. 20 foot long, 10 foot wide, which I was worried about unleashing earlier, but now there is no wall and plenty of snow. So targets in the area of effect will suffer D10 plus 2 fire damage and will catch fire if they don't reflex save 12.
Cool. Do you want to roll your damage? And I'll roll his save.
5.
Okay, yeah, he makes his save, so he doesn't catch fire. Is he surrounded by snow? But he does take that fire damage. And he's not happy about that at all as you belch at him. A flaming cone of death. Deadeye, you're up next.
I snatched the pistol, my spare pistol that was guarding the cellar door, knowing full well that that's pretty safe at this point, and I fan its hammer. I'm going to try this macro style.
Well, remember to flip a card for each one you do, because
Okay,
that probably
so
will be
there
what
we go.
stops you.
So then you
Wow.
add 1 to all of those. That's my special one. So 9 is nothing. 5 nothing. 12 with an 8, so that malfunctions.
It misfires, yeah, and it's if
It
the fanning
misfires on
hammer
that one?
stops when you misfire, I'm afraid.
Does it? That's unfortunate because the
Yeah.
next one's a natural
The
20.
next one would be a crit, yeah.
It would be a crit.
Yeah.
That's
So
well,
yeah,
there we
fanning
go.
the hammer, bang, bang, click. Then
Yeah, and I'm looking at him, looking at it it's as if it's going to be. This is I can feel it ramping up, and then suddenly it just pop, 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 and I drop to my knees.
no, maybe next round you do it. You can do it for right, Horatio, go up.
I'm going to try using my Dead Man's Hand. I'm not quite sure on the rules or whether you increase the cards every round or something, because some of the tables doesn't make much sense. But I'm just going to use it, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, basically
So,
you flip a card each round, and that happens basically. So
because one of the results says you do mojo die for each card, but if I'm only doing one card, I don't understand how it'd be more than one. So I don't know whether the kind of roll on if you maintain it.
Oh, sorry, yeah, no, but it keeps once you start it, you do it every round. If you see what I mean. So you would only do one, yeah, but you only do one at a time. I think at higher levels you get more than one at once.
Oh, right, okay.
I think that's what it is.
Then.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Okay, yeah. So I'll just try that. Spend a point of luck, and I'll deal a card which is it's an 8 straight away. So I take D8 hit points damage as it backfires.
Oh no.
yeah, and you have to start it again.
You
want to roll a D8?
You promised me this was a good power. You lied.
Yeah,
Like the demon.
Abazu's
Okay.
promise.
Abazu, the little baby next to Abazu, like flicks something at me, and my cards blow up in a sort of like shower of sparks in my hands.
yeah. And he cackles and says, "We were very clear. We make the deals here." Okay, Sister Nancy.
Well, although I'm not so sure about whether God has been on my side, now is the time to use my righteous symbol, I think, and see if I can.
Certainly do that. You do have a chance that you can turn back the knight against this thing. I'll just make sure you know the rules for it. It is going to be DC 28 to banish this demon.
Okay.
But using its true name gives you a +10 bonus.
Ooh.
Um,
Maybe I should just do that then if it's a +10 bonus. So if I banish it, it's just, well, I guess we'll find out what that looks like. Yes, I'm rolling.
It'll be good for you guys. Yeah.
I'm rolling 1d20 plus 13, but I'm trying to get at what you say, 28. So
28.
it's still, but oh, it's right. It'd be wrong not to anyway, since we went to all that effort of learning its true name. Fine, let's roll it and see if I can see what we can do. It's a failure, but I think I'm still getting warmed up because I'm almost certainly going to try this again next round. So I'm beginning the chance. I'm certainly making it clear that we know its name is Abazu, maybe in an attempt to throw it off balance, if nothing else. Sister Nancy is getting into a sort of banishment exorcism ritual.
Yeah, I think he goes, "Oh, Abazu? Who's Abazu? I don't know any Abazus, do you?" And little baby said, "No, I don't know. Wait, you're Abbott. No, I don't know. Don't tell him. Don't tell him your name." As he's trying to cover it up, but obviously you know what's what. Right, back to the top of the round. Rats, you can go first this time because I've remembered.
I am going to spend a whole round chugging from my hooch jug to ride the lightning, which will make me smashed, and then I get to do cool stuff next round.
So yeah, down in the cellar, Dr. Bass is doing the same thing, just drinking all round to try and get smashed. as he's been doing most of the session. But yeah, so yeah, you start seriously drinking, ready to ride the lightning and go berserk. Abizu's going to go. Abizu's going to go next. I think he's going to target again. I'll just D4 it because that seems to be a fair way to do it. That's Rats and Rats and Horatio is doing all right. So Rats 14. Will that hit you? Okay, I believe it will. That'll be 4 damage. And on Horatio, 12. Does that hit you?
Is the exactly correct number.
Oh, well done. For just 3 damage.
Thank the Lord.
Okay, Deadeye, you're up.
I'm disgusted at this spare pistol. That's why it's not ghost or iron. And I cast it to the side and pull out my trusty pair. I look around at Abizu and the way that he's just about managing to pummel his way through that, what's left of a shell of a wall, and think, I can shoot that and I can shoot that. And I'll probably end up dropping a fair few of these caskets that are, or bird cages, effectively what they are, by doing that. And that's going to unbalance him. So I'm going for a trick shot, and I find both pistols at once.
He is armor class 15, just to be clear. So that'll hit.
That is 1. So 8 points of damage.
Wowzers.
And let's see. Did that second? No.
Yeah, 11 is not going to hit.
I think that's the is that the damage? No, that's it. Yep. No, that's that.
No. Okay, yeah.
Oh, I need to roll. That's for the first one. That's for the second one. It's a Black Joker. What's that?
Black Joker is a misfire. It's bad, and you get some hex tokens as well.
I'll say that hex.
You're going to get 3 hex tokens. Your fumble dice increased by 3 sizes.
That's a
he curses you.
D10.
But yeah, he looks. You've done quite a bit of damage on him as a whole party, but he still looks to be pretty up there. He's not. If you're playing 4th edition D&D, he would not be staggered yet. You notice, to be clear about it. Or 13th age, I guess. The same thing. Right, Horatio, you're up.
I realised my mistake in using like a regular deck of cards. So I'm going to pull out my cheating mark deck of cards and try again.
Yeah.
And see if it does any better.
The one that's not got any aces or 8s in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a Jack of Hearts, which is interesting, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So the card spins in the air over my head, spitting out D4 plus CL class level, is it?
Yeah, so D4 plus 2.
D4 plus 2 balls of fire. So I'll just quickly roll that.
Which each do 2d6 damage.
Yeah. So 5 balls of fire. I mean, they're all going to be at him. So I'll just roll 10d6 damage.
Yeah.
They automatically hit.
Yeah.
So slash R 10d6. So for 31 damage.
I mean, he's definitely staggered now, yeah.
Hashtag staggered.
Yeah.
And it needs to make, well, I guess I don't know whether it's 1 or 5, but he needs to make a DC 12 ref save to avoid being caught on fire.
What I'll do is I'll roll 5d20s, and he's got a +4 ref bonus. So if any of these are 8, if any of these are below 8, he's catching fire.
He's on fire. He's on fire.
He's on fire.
He's on fire.
So he's taking a d6 per round.
That's right. Until a ref save is passed.
Which he wouldn't normally be bothered about, but in his current state, he is. As he is a flame, as he like howls and goes, "What? No! What foul magic is this?" I told you
Thanks for the spark, baby. Do a thumbs up to little baby in the cage.
Is that a good power, Gaz? Is that a good power?
That's a better power now.
Excellent. Right, Sister Nancy.
All right. Although this thing may succumb to sort of more bodily means, I'm still going to try and banish it once and for all. So 2d20 plus 13. 3 for my will, 10 for knowing its name. Oh, I do have a boon that I can spend for a reroll, which I forgot last round. It doesn't work here on a 1. So once again,
it doesn't work on a 1, no. And in fact, you get a hex for that as well because you.
Okay. I'll just use my boon to cancel out my hex, so I'm.
Oh yeah, so hex free. Right, Rattigan. Start of the round. You're up next. This
So
flaming demon is.
I am
Yeah.
smashed, and I let out the kind of roar that only a drunken squatty can, and then I'm going to rush at him with my axe a swinging. At this point, my attack roll starts at 1d24 and then decreases in size each time thereafter.
Nice.
Yeah.
So d24 plus 2, that is a lowly 11, but I have a boon.
All right. Yeah.
So I am going to spend the boon to roll a 26, a natural 24.
That's a crit.
24.
In fact.
Indeed, it is.
Do you want to roll your damage?
Yes, sir, I do. So damage is 11, which is nice.
Okay.
And the crit dice is a 6.
And you're using a battle axe, aren't you? So that will be.
I am.
Target blocks the attack, sacrificing its forearm to spare its vitals.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's an extra 2d6 damage, but it is actually going to die anyway with what you've done. So yeah, you've successfully sliced Abizu's arm off and defeated it. Do you want to add any more narration to that, Shane,
So,
as you've managed to defeat the demon?
So it attempts to sacrifice its arm to save its vitals, but the mighty inebriated swing cleaves through the arm and into said vitals anyway. And then as it sort of begins to fall, I will grab the cage, rip it from its antlers and cast it across the room.
Fantastic. Indeed, and as you do this, and Abizu fades into ash, you just see the first bright light of dawn rises over the hill, and you know that you are safe. You've defeated the demon and kept the child of the Brimstone Cradle safe. As you go back into the cabin to get your the doctor and Philomena and the baby from the cellar where they're safe and sound, you notice that the sparse Christmas tree that was within the cabin at the start is now has beneath it a pile of presents that have appeared magically as a result of your successful quest, and you're able to, as Dr. Bass gets up and pours a shaky toast to Christmas morning and success, you're able to sit down and see what these presents have brought you as you have defeated the demon. So just to round it off, you all sit around and celebrate. What do each of you find under the tree? We'll go in go in order of how we're on the screen. So Shane, Jag, Alex, and finally Gaz. Shane, what's Rats find under the tree?
Rats opens it, slightly shaking from the inebriation, opens the box, squints inside, and there is a perfectly carved crystal shot glass.
Beautiful, beautiful. What does Deadeye find?
Deadeye finds this absolutely divinely crafted. It's made out of antler bone. Very recently found antler bone coverings that go onto the hilt of his spare pistol. It's not good enough for Ghost and Iron, but it's a pretty decent one to attach to that to remind us of the terrors that we faced tonight.
Fantastic, lovely. What about Sister Nancy? What do you find under the tree?
Well, there are very, very few presents fitting for a devout woman of God like Nancy, who would not want, such frivolities. But she does receive a lovely illustrated, well-bound copy of the Bible. But inside, just on the cover, there's a little dedication from beyond the grave from John for saving his son from the infernal clutches of Abizu.
Lovely, lovely. And finally, Gaz, what does Honest Horatio find?
Oh, it's just a small package, but it's a brand new set of cards, which seems for some reason have a fifth ace in the pack. But rather disturbingly, the Joker's got a little baby in a cage that seems to move every time he looks at it, or just at the corner of his vision, quickly shuffles again.
Lovely, fantastic. Well, thanks, guys, and a Merry Christmas, one and all. You've successfully had a successful adventure. You've kept the baby safe, and our heroes have survived the vicissitudes of an extremely swingy system as Dungeon Crawl Classics or Weird Frontiers is. So thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Keep an eye out for it. There might be more Wild West themed games coming up. It seems to be a genre that we can't get enough of. So watch out for those. Be sure to check out our Deadlands video, which is out there as well. And yeah, let us know what you'd like to see in the comments. Cheers, and a Merry Christmas, one and all.